Morning. How's everybody doing? Good. I appreciate you guys coming in. So in a decent spot, so kind of recalibrate here this week, so should be a productive week for us. Really no different. The only difference is we're not playing this weekend. So, kind of go through a normal week. A number of players that are in here today, getting treatment, working out, getting ready for tomorrow, practice tomorrow. Players will be off for 4 days, and they'll get ready to go for a really good Seattle team, following week. So I think this week it's kind of looking at some of the things we're doing, take a look ahead to Seattle a little bit, maybe even try to get a little bit further ahead, understanding we're going to have a long week, then we're going to have a short week. So, season kind of divided up into quarters, so it kind of call it the first quarter of the season. So the next quarter on the horizon, and then there'll be a number of games there, and really like kind of a mini break there once we get to Buffalo. So kind of keep moving along. I think the big thing from our perspective, we continue to improve, making progress as a team, and that's where the focus should be. So a lot of football in front of us. Played decent the last couple weeks. Try to build on some of the things that we've done here the last few weeks, and then kind of get ready to go, like I said, for really good Seattle team. Great environment for anybody that's been up there. I'll put it up there as one of the best road environments that you're going to play in. So, if you like football, you like a competitive environment, great fan base, they're into it. They put a lot of pressure on the opponent, so it'll be a big challenge for us, but excited about the opportunity. So, Jonathan, go ahead. Why don't you fire away?
You've often said that, you're only good as your record suggests, 2-3. How did you all get to this point, you feel?
Played good football, didn't make enough plays. Honestly, we lost, 3 games in the last possession of the game. So, that's the NFL. The margins are small. Put ourselves in a good position, had an opportunity each week. So can't really control what's happened in the past. All we can do is focus on where we are and try to continue to build on some of the things that we've done here the last few weeks. It's a week-to-week league. So, you guys look around the league, it's as competitive probably years. They put a stat out last week, I want to say it's like the number of one-score games or games that went down to the last possessions, and most games going back like 10, 15 years. So, that's the NFL. So the margins are very small. I think the biggest thing from our perspective, the number one stat that correlates to winning and losing is turnover margin. You go through the league, like if you take care of the ball and don't do anything else, you're probably going to win games. And now you can say, well, in the Tampa game, you guys didn't turn the ball over. Yep. And then we couldn't tackle the MVP of the league, or arguably the MVP of the league on 4th and 10. So that's the NFL. So you make the plays or the other team makes them. So like our team, like where we're headed, see if we can build on some of the things we've done the last few weeks.
Nick, you said that you often tell us during draft time that, when you're picking these players, you're taking a chance on them. You never know what you're going to get. Is that the same philosophy as far as free agency is concerned as well? Because, some of the free agent acquisitions that you all made or trades that you made in the offseason, some of those players are no longer here. Is that the same type of mentality?
Yeah, for sure. Team building in and of itself, there's nothing that's guaranteed. So say NFL players, maybe you have a little more information based on relative being able to see them play. Draft players, there's some risk involved. So honestly, you really don't know how it's going to go with any player. The reality is we're going to take shots on goal. Some shots are going to hit, other shots are going to miss. So, I would say it doesn't really change. The overall team building philosophy, it's never linear. So nothing is going to work out perfectly each time. So you're going to take some shots. Things will work. Some things won't work. So in the end, our job is to evaluate. D'Amico and I talk about the team literally every day. Do we feel is in the best interest of the team and the organization, and just keep pressing forward. And that's where the focus is going to remain.
With that, the best interest of the team. Y'all say that when y'all make moves, but with Cam Robinson, it was. He wanted to play more, so it was in the best interest of the player. How are those two things aligned, especially where you might be a little more thin with the depth?
Yeah, we have 4 starting tackles in the building, so right now, including Trent Brown. So, Cam's situation was, again, take all the information, evaluate it, and then in the end, make the decision that we feel is best, for the team and everybody involved. So it's no different. Our philosophy is the same. So have discussions, have dialogue. D'Amico and I talk about it. In the end, whatever we feel makes the most sense, that's what we do.
Blake is a starting tackle right now?
I'm saying we have 4 tackles that have started in the NFL. Is that accurate? Is that not accurate?
Yeah, I was just asking.
I'm saying we have 4. Yeah, we have 4 tackles. Blake Fisher, Trent Brown. Trent started 100 games in the NFL. So I'm saying we feel good about the people that are in the building. So that's what we decide to go with. So each week we'll evaluate it and figure out what makes the most sense.
When it comes to the offensive line, you guys made a complete overhaul with except for Titus, and now you got Juice back. How do you feel like that's going the last couple of weeks when you kind of put in perspective the first couple and look at it in its entirety?
Yeah, overall, I mean, that group's done a pretty good job. So we had some moving parts early in the season. You know, when I got hurt there Thursday before the Rams game, then we had to shuffle things around. So I think the group that's been out there over the last however many weeks, I mean, they've played pretty good football. I mean, Ed's done a pretty good job. I mean, he's played really good football. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody involved, probably in that situation. I mean, he's played good football. I mean, I don't know, he's like one of the top-ranked guards in the league or something ridiculous. I'm not saying he's the best guard in the league, but he's played good football. So Titus has played competitively. You know, Jake's done a good job. So, you know, Lakin and Juice have kind of rotated in there a little bit at left guard. And I think the more that Tay has played, the better he's played. He's made some, call it, younger player mistakes, which that comes with the territory. But it's a good kid, good attitude, builds on some of the things that he continues to do well. So, I mean, overall, the group has worked well together, making progress. I mean, Cole's done a pretty good job with that. So we're going to need everybody, try to continue to build our depth, you know, which I would say, you know, with Trent kind of going from the practice squad to the roster is really more a depth situation. He was off the roster, but, you know, we felt like, all right, we had a roster spot. So, I mean, there wasn't any, like, shenanigans involved. I'm sure everybody's looking at, like, what the hell are these guys doing? But I think it was really – there wasn't more than meets the eye. It was just a simple matter of just roster, you know, moving from one spot to the next.
How would you evaluate
Go ahead, Chris.
how would you evaluate CJ's progress or his performance through the first 5 games?
Yeah, he's done a good job. I think the last couple games, I mean, he's played the position the way the position's supposed to be played, made good decisions, been efficient. He's completed, 81% of his passes, hasn't turned the ball over. So, I mean, the reality is, and I mean, he said, I know, you know, everybody gave him birthday wishes last week. He's 24 years old. He's still a young player. So even though he's played a lot of football, so you learn by doing, you learn by playing. Each year is going to be a little bit different. Each opponent is going to be a little bit different. Every situation is going to be a little bit different. You know, so he's played pretty good football here the last few weeks. The most important thing, he's taking care of the football. So, I mean, go back to the Jacksonville game. I mean, we lost a game because we basically couldn't take care of the football. So if you take care of the football, you're going to have 75, 80% shot of winning a game. So it's hard for, I would say, young players and quarterbacks to understand that, but the ones that take care of the football the best are usually the ones that play the best.
Tell us anything new
Go ahead, Chris,
about.
one more. And then,
Can you tell us anything about Joe Mixon at all?
yeah, I think probably over the next few weeks we'll probably have a better idea. He's making progress, so I wouldn't put a particular timetable on it. So I think over the next 3-4 weeks, probably get a little more information here, kind of see how he's progressing. But taking one day at a time. But I think once we kind of get to that period, probably have a better sense of which way it's going to go, for the duration of the year. Go ahead.
I was going to ask Mixon, but I've got another follow-up on your assessment. 5 games in now, the rookie receivers, Noll and Higgins, what you've seen from them and moving forward, what do you expect from them?
Yeah, that group overall, I mean, they make pretty solid contributions, including J-Rock, when he was available. So overall, good group, got a good attitude. Made progress seemingly each week. Put Noll back there early on, once Braxton kind of got knocked out of the mix there a little bit. Jalen went back there, he's handled the ball, giving us some plays on punt returns, had a couple explosive plays, tried to make the most of his opportunities offensively. So I think the other day, kind of the way we mixed and matched the receivers a little bit, had 4 or 5 receivers, they all kind of rolled through there a little bit. Higgs taking advantage of opportunities. Seems like when you throw him the ball, he catches it, and usually something positive happens. So, again, I mean, that's typically what you want to see. You just want to see continual progress, continual improvement, not only from rookies and younger players, but your team overall, and that kind of seems to be the direction we're headed.
One of the most significant changes you guys made in the offseason was Nick Caley getting hired as the offensive coordinator. What have you seen from him and his role and how the offense is operating?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's evolved. So anytime any of us are put in a position for the first time, you're going to have to deal with some ups and downs, and it's a learning process. So we've all been there. I've been there. Nick's going through it. You look around the league, there's a lot of coaches that go through that. But got a good attitude, taking the right approach. There's always a little bit of give and take, and, well, you want to try a little bit more of this, but maybe that's not the best thing for the team. Hey, maybe we're going to shift our focus a little bit here. So Nick's a smart guy. He's been around football for a long time, seen a lot of things. I think we've made some adjustments and modifications as we've gone. So we've talked about this. You probably figure out kind of what you have with your football team over the first 4 to 5 weeks. So, we have kind of 5 games in the bank here a little bit. So figure out what we're doing well, what are some of the things that we can build on. And Nick's done a really good job. He's had a good attitude, had a good approach, has worked really well with the staff, communicates with D'Amico on a regular basis, communicates with the players, trying to figure out what's in their best interests, what makes them comfortable. Because in the end, it's about the players. So he's done a good job. Glad he's here.
Regarding safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, obviously no longer here. What kind of just went into that decision to let him go after 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, similar to kind of Cam's situation, kind of take the information. In the end, took a shot on goal, didn't work out, move on, and let's focus on, the rest of the team and the players that are here. So there's really nothing more to it. I mean, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but that's the reality of the situation. So certainly wish him well. It's good to work with. In the end, that's a decision that we made and moved ahead.
In regards to his, why didn't you all try to pursue a trade with another team? And then I have another question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an assumption that you pursued a trade, or didn't pursue a trade. I mean, we talk to teams all the time. So if a team's interested, we're always going to listen. If there's something there that makes sense, great. If there's not, then we figure out what the best course of action is.
CJ and Will are obviously eligible for contract extension this offseason. How will you approach that? Can you re-sign both in the same year? Do you want to stagger them? How will you approach that?
I mean, we'll worry about that in the offseason. I mean, right now it's a big waste of time. So, I mean, the focus will be on the season, trying to figure out what we can do for the 2025 Houston Texans. And then once we get to the offseason, we'll have those discussions when the time's appropriate.
When you do hire someone like Caley who hadn't called plays before, how much do you bake in that learning curve and needing to win as well?
Yeah, I think it's any coach. I mean, any job when you're kind of put in a position, there's a learning process that's involved. You go from an area scout to college director or national. I mean, there's things that you're going to learn that'll be different than the job that you had previously. So no different than the coach, position coach, going to a coordinator spot. Okay, there's some things that you figure out, managing a staff. Okay, what's your responsibility? What do you allocate your time and resources? So it's all part of the process. So you're evaluating the individual, you're evaluating the coach. I mean, there's things that you're going to like about the coach, and then you're going to give him an opportunity. And honestly, you're going to learn sometimes by failing. Things aren't going to always go the way that you expect them to go or want them to go. I mean, it happens to all of us. So it's you learn from it, try to internalize it, figure out how do we make the corrections, come up with some solutions, and keep pressing forwards. But Nick's a smart coach, got a good attitude, we got a good offensive staff, so just got to kind of keep moving ahead and kind of building on some of the things that we've done here, over the past few weeks, understanding that we're going to face challenges every week, regardless of who the opponent is.
D'Amico's noted that he's kind of helped the offense a little bit, let Matt take over some plays. From your perspective, what has D'Amico helped with or worked with the offense?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, D'Amico hasn't changed since he's been here day one. So, I mean, he's head coach. He's involved in everything. So, I mean, how he chooses to allocate his time, he's always going to do what he feels in the best interest of the team. But the head coach is ultimately responsible for everything involved. So, honestly, I think, the whole Matt situation, I mean, the defensive staff, they meet, together on a daily basis. So, I mean, there's no, anything earth-shattering there. So, I mean, how you call a game, or who does what on game day. So, I mean, sometimes it'll be the same as it was a week before. Some things at times it'll change. So, in the end, our philosophy, D'Amico and our philosophy is whatever we can do to help the team, do what's best for everybody involved, that's what we're going to do. But, I mean, D'Amico hasn't changed since the date he's been hired to where we are now.
Yeah, offensive system. I know some of the foundational pieces are the New England system, but we always talk about, the New England system is back. I'll say I talk about it, I won't lump people in.
Are you in the New England system?
Well, how is this? Telling me as much as you can tell me, because there's been players that played for both O'Brien and him, 3 guys that have said it, and Todd Bowles said it was familiar. Telling me as much as you can without giving away too much. Tell me how this is different than the Brady New England system.
Yeah. Again, I think anytime everything kind of generally labeled this system, that system, I would say football evolves over time. So, again, the offense as it was constructed in 2001 is different than the offense in 2007, different than the offense in 2010. So it kind of took on multiple different shapes and sizes. Offensive football, forget about the New England system or any system. It usually goes back to what are some of the foundational things, core principles, and then what's your personnel, who do you have on your team, and what are some of the things that you're going to ask those players to do, how you call plays, route concepts. Honestly, everybody has the same concepts. Probably the biggest, I would say, difference or maybe some of the things that are specific systematically is just from a protection variation standpoint. So that's probably where you've seen some, I would say. It can be. It honestly, again, not biased, but sometimes it simplifies it for everybody involved. And I think defenses have done a good job of evolving. So I think what you're trying to do is just equip the players and the quarterback for answers if there's an issue. And there's going to be times where the defense presents situations where maybe they have an extra player that you can't block or you can't account for. So it's really more, I would say, in a protection system front than it is anything else. Route concepts, run games, some of those other things. I mean, honestly, it's probably universal. I mean, you can look around the league. Maybe some teams emphasize a few more things relative to others. But again, I don't want to say it's actually a very player-friendly system. It's quarterback-friendly. And you have to learn the terminology and what you call things, and sometimes you got to be able to translate a little bit. But even that system, it evolved over time, and it's not certainly cut and paste. It's not you take this playbook and then you drop it in. There's always going to be core elements, and I think we're all a product of whatever our foundation, what do we learn. But even as you grow as a coach, as in personnel, you're going to make some changes and adjustments as you go, and you're going to kind of, I don't want to say modernize it or equip it to this game and to kind of mirror with some of the defense. And when you look at the way defenses are playing now relative to, let's call it the 2010s, through 15, it's definitely changed. So front structure, front modification, I would say defenses have done a really good job of evolving, and they try to put a lot of stress. And when you're coaching defensive football and you're playing defense, you're really trying to, what can we do to stretch protections? So conversely, on the offensive side, all right, what are some of the things that we can do to counteract and balance that? So again, I think sometimes you just have to be careful of just making too much of a parallel. It's system to system. It's definitely evolved over time. And unless you've been really in the system, which I've been in a lot of systems over the course of 25 years, I'm not saying like
you've been a part of it, and that's why I asked, because we've seen it not work with Tom Brady, and that's one of the talking points that I use. And then we saw it for a number of years, and it didn't feel like it was evolving as much. But you're one of the guys who was there for 20 years. You coached in it. You were in the building. Sometimes you're wearing the headset. So I just figured you would have a better grasp of it.
It definitely evolved, Landry. And the same thing defensively. When you're looking going back to some of the defensive front structures from how it was kind of in the beginning to where it was in the end.
You're saying it's evolving here, right? Not always, right?
Correct. I'm saying offensively and defensively, just in those systems, my experience over 20 years, they were modified and tweaked and evolved. And then when you look at where we are with the Houston Texans, we've had a couple different, call it offensive systems, but I'd say a lot of concepts that we're using currently, we've carried over from the past 2 to 3 years. They're player friendly, there's some carryover, and that's where as a coach you're just trying to figure out what makes the most sense and trying to make it work. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. And D'Amico's done the same thing defensively. The things that he was doing in San Francisco, we're doing things here that he wasn't doing in San Francisco, and that's kind of the ebb and flow, of this league.
In terms of the rookies, the skilled players like Jalen Noll, Jaden Higgins, and Woody Marks, what you see from each of those guys? Have a quick follow-up.
Yeah, good attitude. Similar to Tay, there's going to be some good plays and there's going to be some plays that they have to get fixed. The big thing, as long as you're willing to be coachable and you're willing to learn and make the corrections, then that's all you can ask from those players. But all three players, honestly, between the five of them, they don't really say too much. So, it looks like they pay attention to Stingley. Stingley talks the least amount of anybody on the team, and I would say Higgins is a pretty quiet guy as well. But they're good kids. They work hard. They got a really good attitude. They want to be good at football. They put a lot into it. They're certainly making progress, and they're going to help us. They've helped us to this point, and the goal is that hopefully they can help us over the duration of the season.
An update on Jimmy Ward and other guys are on reserve lists like Nick Autry and Jalen Reed.
Yeah, Reed and Autry started practicing here last week, so I would say they're probably closer to playing than some others. J-Rock probably, after another week or two, probably be available here at some point to practice. Jimmy's making progress, probably a little bit further out here, but he's been in the building working. And I think right now there's a little bit of gray just relative to Watson and Stover. At some point, we'll see those players, probably not as definitive as it is with some of the other folks, Kurt as well. So, we have some depth kind of off the roster in some different categories. So, at some point when those players are available, the expectation is they're going to be ready to go here at some point, be able to help the team.
It was a little bit of a gamble to go with some of the cheaper options on the O-line. Now, I know y'all tried to trade up to get some of the top guys, but why did you decide to go in that direction as opposed to investing in some of the higher-priced guys in free agency, O-linemen in particular?
Well, in terms of what?
So, obviously, there are guys who are considered top tier, who are the more expensive options. You all went after guys like Ed Ingham, who are playing well, Lakin Thompson, who are playing well, but they're a little bit more cheaper options, didn't have sustained success last year. Why did you decide to go after those players as opposed to the guys who are considered the top tier players?
Yeah, I think we have to be careful about making assumptions that there were players that we didn't have interest in. So, look, I'm on the phone, during the course of March, we talked to everybody. So I would say we were interested in a lot more players than maybe the picture's been painted. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you don't acquire a player, then you pivot to the next option. So, I wouldn't say there's anything different in our approach. So again, I'm not sure who those players are, who we're exactly talking about, what the perception is of who's a top tier player. So, I think kind of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So again, we've been interested in a lot of players. We've made attempts to acquire a number of players. Sometimes it works the way that you think it's going to work, and then you got to evaluate the market and figure out what makes the most sense. So, that's the approach that we've taken since we've been here, and hasn't changed. And I think I'd be careful about just making an assumption of what our level of interest was or was not in certain players.
In a sense, are you confident that those guys can continue to ascend where they are, the current guys?
Yeah, they've improved. So, Titus has played really good football. We haven't really talked about Titus, but, he's probably played as good a football as he has at any point in his career. So, a lot of credit to him and respect. He's literally played all four positions other than center, and he's done a lot for the team. So, Ed's improving. Jake's done a good job. Jake's been out of football, for a couple of years, so he kind of taken advantage of his opportunity. We talked about Tay a little bit earlier. So, we drafted Tay in the second round for a reason. Thought he was a good player. Put him out there at left tackle. And he's played some good football. So, and if we got to make an adjustment, I'm sure we're going to lose a player here at some point, and there's probably going to be somebody that we're not talking about that is going to end up playing at some point, like we've had at different points over the last few years. Derek Barnett, players like that who have kind of popped up later in the season. So we'll take it one day at a time. We'll evaluate it and try to figure out what makes the most sense for our team and, try to make good decisions as we go.
You mentioned player acquisition in season. You got a little bit of extra draft capital for next year. Does that change an approach or willingness to maybe make some moves at the trade deadline?
Yeah, we'll look at it, have some flexibility. So there's always a cost. Do a cost-benefit analysis, not to get into big economics discussion, but, that's a part of it. So if you're going to give something up, what are you getting in return? Are you comfortable with that decision? What's the cost from a contractual standpoint? Some of those types of things. So try to maintain as much flexibility as possible so we're in a decent spot. If there's a situation out there that we feel makes some sense and it works out, great. If it doesn't, then okay, there's nothing we can do about it, and we're prepared to handle it, with the players that we have here. So, we're getting close here. You're starting to see a little bit of jockeying. Teams are losing players. The trade deadline's called up, 3-4 weeks away. So, again, I know everybody gets excited about the trade deadline, and typically it ends up being more of a whimper than anything else. But you never know. Every year is a little bit different. So always be open-minded. I think that's the one thing I think we've shown. We're open-minded, be adaptable, be flexible. And if there's a situation that makes sense, great. If there's not, then kind of keep pressing ahead. Go ahead, Sarge.
Along those same lines, in the position that you're in, with the way that the season started, how are you able to maintain not panicking and going out and trying to make some type of changes and then watching the season turn around, not the season, but watching before you all go into the bye week, how you all gain this type of momentum, but the ebbs and flow of not doing anything drastic as far as changes and stuff like that.
I think the great thing about this building, it's the same every day, regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances. So, you all talk to D'Amico every day. He was the same week one that he was yesterday when he talked to you all. So I would say week one, Like my philosophy or my, mentality is the same. Like win or lose, I don't really change that much. So I try to stay kind of right in the middle. I think I've learned that that's the best way to handle it. Can't get too high, can't get too low. And whatever happens in the game, you try to figure out, all right, what can we do better? All right, there's nothing that we can do. We can't change the outcome. All we can do is control what's in front of us. I mean, that's a philosophy we try to take. I mean, the players' attitude from week 1 till now, honestly, has been the same. Like you've all seen us practice. I mean, they got a good attitude. We got a good group of players. They got a good approach. They're very professional in how they go about their business. So, I think it speaks to kind of the environment that, we've created, that D'Amico creates and perpetuates on a day-to-day basis. It's not going to change. So regardless of what we're dealing with. So whatever the outcome is, come in the next day, take inventory of where we are, and just try to make good, sound decisions over the course of time. My experience is those are the best. That's the best way to handle a program, and that's kind of how we're gonna approach it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep.